Hi, and welcome to this episode of Weight Loss Winformation. And I have a multi-talented guest with us tonight. I'm not even going to try with her last name. It's Joelle, but man, that last name looks French and it ain't happening for me. So I will let her introduce herself in just a minute. But I want to just share that we met at the recent Obesity Help Conference and we started talking and I was like, oh my gosh, she does so many extraordinary things in the world of physical, mental, emotional health. I was like, you got a lot to offer, and I would love to have you on the podcast. So she is here finally. And I hate that it took me so long to get you on here. So can you just share the last name with me? Because
Sure. I'm so thrilled to be here. So thank you so much
okay.
for having me here. And yeah, we just had that instant connection when we were at Obesity Help, and I knew we were kindred spirits. So thank
Absolutely.
you. Yes, my last name is Chateau Nerf. Yes, and it is a mouthful.
Is that a blended name or is that one name? Is it a hyphenated
Nope, it's
name?
one name. It means
Nice.
ninth castle or new castle in French. So.
Well, I knew it was French. I got that much. But girl,
Mhm.
I'm going to come up and see you at that castle because you're in Canada, right?
No, I am
Where
in
is
very
that?
close. I'm in, right outside of Boston.
Oh, well, I'm definitely coming to visit you. I actually have a
Yeah,
trip planned to
come.
Boston with
Please
some
do.
friends from high school. We were talking about travel before we pushed play here. I love to travel. You love to travel. And I have this group of high school friends that I reconnected with a couple of years ago, man, and we travel. So our next trip is to Boston. So I will look you up. We'll have lunch.
Come.
I
I
don't know.
love
I
it.
guess I thought you were in Canada because your French name.
Yeah. And we're close. It's in the north. It's cold.
Yes. Is it really bad right now?
Today was not so bad, but yeah, it's been a pretty cold past few weeks.
You
But
don't
it's fun
talk.
for skiing,
Oh, yeah. If a person wants to do that sort of thing, be
right?
out in the cold. um, so you don't sound like you're from Boston.
No, I actually grew up in San Diego, and my
Wow.
parents are divorced, so I also lived in Milwaukee. So I
Oh,
can, yeah, I'm pretty much a citizen of the United States all
you
over, and
sure
I don't
are.
really have a strong accent either way.
I'll tell you, Milwaukee, Wisconsin is one of my favorite states, which probably surprises people to no end. But
Yeah,
I
I
grew
am
up in
surprised.
Iowa, and I think Wisconsin in the summer is one of the absolutely most beautiful states there is.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's so green, so
It is.
lush.
It's a
Yeah,
little
it's
Ireland-esque.
yeah, exactly. That's a really
Yeah.
good way to put it.
So tell us your background and how you got to be
Yeah.
where you are now. You have a company called Empower Health and Wellness, which is wonderful, and
Yep.
people can look that up. It's .org, by the way.
Yep.
And how did you get to the place where you started this company? Tell us about your trajectory and about your company, and then we'll talk about some specific things you do.
Sure. So, yeah, I'm a nurse practitioner. I have a doctorate in nursing practice. I have been doing functional medicine for a while, and integrative medicine. So that means with allopathic medicine and functional medicine, but mind, body, spirit, and lifestyle. So, and that kind of started when about 20 years ago, I was living out in California and I got sick with a neurological disease called another French name, Guillain-Barré.
Uh-huh.
And I was hospitalized. I couldn't walk. And but leading up to that, I had symptoms, and even as a nurse, I was and working in a hospital, I was getting turned away. People
Wow.
didn't listen to me, and so, I thought, "Oh, is it all in my head?" That's basically what they were saying, "You're
Oh,
crazy," and this happens
no.
so much.
Mhm.
So I eventually, had to be hospitalized, and then I couldn't work, and I moved back to Massachusetts because in with my mom, and I was an adult. I was a
Not
professional at this point, so it was really hard.
I'm sure that was
Um,
really depressing too, like, "What is happening? I'm so young and my life is falling apart."
yeah, it was terrifying. But in some ways, you have like these difficult moments and it really shapes
For
who you
sure.
become. So I
Yeah,
look at those moments as blessings in a way,
absolutely.
right? So I moved back home, and again, like I had to go to rehab to physical therapy to like relearn how to walk and get my sensation back,
Wow.
and at this time, I met my husband, which was great, and I started working at an integrative health clinic, and they listened. They were the only people who like listened,
Wow.
and I did work with meditation, deep breathing, cranial sacral work. I got,
Mm.
IVs and elimination diet, and had like a very like a mindset shift in a way. And so that really kind of set the trajectory for me to start to explore treating my patients the same way and listening to them and not dismissing people when they say they have something and they've been here, there, and everywhere else, and they've been turned away. Um, Eventually, I met my husband, had children, and then went to school to be a nurse practitioner, and while I was doing that, I worked at, Dana-Farber, which is a cancer, research institute
Mm.
hospital, and I had patients who were, allergic to their chemotherapy.
Holy moly.
I know, so if you can imagine how absolutely terrifying that is to have a life-saving, infusion
Exactly.
and then not be able to take it, and then having that be a risk for someone to yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, exactly. And so I learned how to do Reiki,
Uh-huh.
and I would do Reiki on my patients, and they would stop feeling that I mean, there was a whole protocol, so I'm not gonna say it was
Sure.
simply Reiki, but it was the whole, using this protocol and helping with their, mental, stability, their health, their feeling like they have a little bit of control over their nervous system and getting
Sure.
into a healing state, it really helped them. And so we had great success with that. So yeah, that kind of started this whole thing of going to mind body and starting
Okay,
my own
so
practice.
I'm gonna haul out the dictionary for a minute so you can explain some terminology to the listeners. The first one
Okay.
being, functional medicine. What is functional
Yep.
medicine?
Functional medicine is it's all medicine is complicated. So I'll just try to use metaphors, analogies, and speak in plain language as
Sure.
much as possible. But basically, the idea of functional medicine is instead of just taking a pill for something, you go a little bit more upstream, okay, and um, figure out why. Like, let's say hypertension, for
Mhm,
example,
mhm.
or let's say we can talk about obesity, for example. Instead of simply have this surgery or take this medication or eat this one thing, we
Right.
try to go upstream a little bit and think about what are the triggers that caused it. And so how can we treat those things in order to have a more lasting, impact. And it's also a lot more, comprehensive than just, like, one thing, so we are able to tackle it in, like, many different ways. So
So it sounds to me, would this be accurate to say that we're taking a broader look? You know,
mhm.
what was happening in your life that maybe contributed or has exacerbated this other
Yes,
issue? And looking at how can we treat your whole person, not just this diagnosis, this disease of obesity or this disease of Guillain-Barré
right,
or whatever it is.
right.
Yeah.
Like, what are the stressors that were happening around that time? But also, what are the inherited stressors that you picked up? What are the habits that you picked up along the way?
Yeah, so this is a part of the reason I wanted you on the podcast is because so many of the people who listen to this who have struggled with the disease of obesity over the years, first of all, they are very dismissed by the medical community. I hear all the time, I went in with a broken finger and they said you need to lose weight, right? It clearly has nothing to do with the thing they're going for. And so they feel oftentimes, and I believe it's very, very true, that people are dismissed by medical practitioners because they look at, okay, you're overweight, that this is the problem for everything. So I wanted you to come on here because I know that a lot of our listeners have experienced that. And secondly, people with the disease of obesity also struggle with a lot of comorbid illnesses. And oftentimes there's some emotional and mental health issues surrounding that. And I love the idea of looking at different modalities of treatment. And I love that functional medicine does that. So, first of all, just a curious question about your professional status. You went through a nurse practitioner and a doctoral program for nursing, which is probably very traditional Western medicine based.
Yes.
How do
Yes.
they how do they treat you in terms of incorporating this broader perspective of medicine?
Um, well, I have an aunt who is a nurse practitioner, and she said that nursing is holistic care.
Okay.
So a lot of nurses, we do think about people, the whole family system.
Oh,
We do
good.
think about like mental health, and we think about it, patients in a comprehensive way.
Oh, that's good.
And so that I think kind of set my my thinking. A lot of the nurses were open to, and the nurse practitioners were open to it when I was
Love that.
in school. And I think the most important thing, even if some of my colleagues, fellow students, I had some really great faculty who
Oh,
were supportive.
excellent.
So,
Oh, that's
mhm.
encouraging. I love that. Yeah, okay. So I love energy work and energy healing, and uh, I I have experienced that. I've been like the recipient of energy healing and Reiki. So I know what you're talking about when you talk about that. But before we get
Yeah.
to that, what is how do you define allopathic?
Allopathic is traditional medicine. So,
Okay.
Western medicine, when
Okay.
you go to your primary care and you get your medication for high blood pressure or your metformin, that's allopathic.
All right. So we're talking about let's look at the traditional and consider
Yeah.
utilizing additional things to explore what's going on with you as a whole person. So where do you want to start first? Like in your program with Empower Health and Wellness, what do you do with patients? Like they would come in and say, "Hey, what's going on?"
Well, I have a few different things that I do with people. I do have a weight loss program where I start people on
Nice.
GLP-1s.
Okay.
And the great thing about that is it does stop that noise chatter, as we know,
Right.
the food noise. And so that I'm also a certified hypnotherapist, by the way.
Ah,
So that
yes.
leads me to believe or like kind of think about what the subconscious is telling people. So in my program, I start people on a GLP-1, boost confidence, or if they're already on it, get that confidence and like let people see like, wow, this is not me. There's something exterior or something in my brain that's like this
Exactly.
chatter that's happening. And it's such a relief for people to have that quieted. And so
Absolutely.
hypnotherapy can actually do the same thing. So
Ooh,
in my program, I have I teach people self-hypnosis.
I love that.
So I also teach people to, dietary, like here are some healthy choices. Here's the protein recommendation. So I do that stuff as well.
Sure.
Exercise, muscle strength, why it's important to eat the protein, why it's important to do the strength training,
Right.
and how that helps with the metabolism for long-term success. And then transitioning them through with giving them skills of like radical self-acceptance,
Oh, I love that.
managing, yeah, managing the anxiety that sometimes people feel, which causes them to want to overeat, right?
Right.
Or the habits, recognizing like, oh, I'm actually not hungry. This is a habit,
Right.
or um, and also reviewing the hormones that change when people lose weight, right? So that chatter that you're having now that you lost a few pounds might just be the hormones, and it's not actually you're hungry. So it's a very comprehensive program that hopefully that helps holds people's hands during the whole thing and gives people skills to be successful so that they can transition off if they choose to do that.
I wanna
But without judgment, some
I
people don't
wanna
want to.
Yeah, I wanna give you a standing ovation because one of my biggest concerns for people who are taking GLP-1s, it's I'm gonna say it's bad enough with bariatric surgery, and people who are having
Mhm.
bariatric surgery get a little bit of education about nutrition and about emotional issues that might surface and about but most people who take a GLP-1 don't. So thank you so much for providing this whole person perspective and educating people.
Yeah, it's interesting how people are told that they have this chronic illness and they have to be on this for the rest of their lives. And it's not just GLP-1, it's, lots of other medications too.
Right, right.
And so instead, let's figure out why and work on that and get people healthier, you know? Um, so yeah.
Can you educate us a little bit about the hormone changes with the weight loss?
Yes. So there's ghrelin, which is we call it the gremlin hormone. So with loss, your body is constantly wants to stay or adapt and kind of find a balance, right? So if you um, are a certain weight, your body is going to say that this is the weight that is I need to be at, right? So when people tend to lose weight, hormones kick in and start like, okay, now you need to gain those pounds back.
Okay.
And that would be like the ghrelin. So leptin is the satiety hormone,
Mhm.
which lets you feel like, okay, I am actually full now and I don't need to eat anymore. Ghrelin is the hormone that is the one that's like, nope, you need to eat more and gives you like the cravings and hunger hormone.
We need to get you back to that weight. So,
Yeah.
like the food
And
noise like the
mhm,
food noise, it's kind of a relief for people to understand that, okay, there are things working against me. The ghrelin does the same thing, and that's why regain can be such a struggle because there are
it's
things working against you. Yes, we have habits and we have things that we can influence, but there are
mhm.
things that are working against us internally that we don't have a whole lot of power over unless we figure out this medication could help or this self-hypnosis technique could help or this Reiki technique could help.
Right. And also awareness,
Oh, for sure. Talk more
right? So
about that.
just being aware, like, oh, yeah, my body is shifting. Now I need to train my body, teach it that this is my new weight and it's
Yeah.
okay. And I'm safe actually at this
Mhm.
weight.
Yeah, that's a great point. Okay, so you talked about using self-hypnosis so that if a person wants to wean off of the medication at some point, they've got some skills and some tools to use that can help. Explain that.
Um, well, there are a few things that you can do, and basically, I know that you're aware of the nervous system, but I want to explain for
Yes,
the
please.
audience because it can be quite complicated. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to try to be as clear as possible. But we have two main nervous systems. One is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest, digest, restore state. And then we have the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight, flight, or freeze, like you're being chased by a lion kind of
Mhm.
nervous system, right? And oftentimes, a lot of people spend most of their time in that sympathetic state, which is like, I gotta run, I have to go.
Right.
This lion's gonna eat me. I have to protect my family or whatever, whatever it is. But the reality is that there isn't a lion chasing you at
Right.
at that moment, right?
Right.
So um, being aware, like, oh, my heart rate's going up, my respiratory rate's kind of getting faster and more shallow. I have control over my breathing and I can get back into that parasympathetic
Yes.
state very, very quickly, very, very easily. And there's one technique that I would love to share that people can have today and use today. And that is simply having your exhale longer than your inhale.
You know,
Would you
I
like to do that with me?
I would love to do that with you. And I am super big fan of this. And I try to, explain that to people all the time. They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But this is an amazing tool. All
Yeah.
right.
So,
So let's
if you're
do it.
feeling like, "Wow, I'm feeling stressed out. I'm gonna go grab that bag of chips."
Right.
Simply take a moment and have your exhale longer than your inhale. You can do it while you're driving if you're having a road rage or whatever.
Exactly. All right. Let's demonstrate. I'll
Anywhere,
be
and
your
it's
patient.
free, no side effects. Yep.
Right. All
So,
right. You do it with me.
um, let's do it. Let's do it. So
Okay.
take a nice deep breath in
Can I
through
close
your
my eyes
nose.
because I'm not
You're welcome to
driving?
close your
I'm not
eyes, but
driving.
if a listener is driving, please don't.
Yeah.
Take a nice deep breath in and exhale.
Through my nose or mouth, or does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Simply have your exhale longer than your inhale. That's right. Take a couple moments here. Sometimes people do like to have that exhale through their mouth because they have a little bit more control over their breath, their exhale, so that they know that they can have it slower. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back. How do you feel?
It just calms you down. It just does.
Yeah,
And what I tell people, and tell me if this is kind of what you share with your people, it's like if you can calm your physiology down, right? Quit the racing, quit the mind spinning, quit the heart racing, really calm yourself down by using the breathing. You can think more rationally and make clearer decisions. So
yeah,
instead of, like you said, run into that bag of chips when you're all worked up, you calm yourself down and say, is that what I really want to do? Is that going to help me?
exactly. And also, yeah, so it bridges that your subconscious, those habits of like, just going to grab that. This is my coping skill.
Hmm.
Does two things. One, it helps you to stop and recognize, oh, that's a habit, and I don't need to do that. I can create new habits. And two, now you have a different coping skill.
That's exactly right. And then people say, well, I don't know what to do. Here's what you do. You do this
Yeah,
breathing technique, and then you do kind of this little analysis like, okay, that's a habit. I'm learning a tool here. I can break that habit. And it gives you a lot of power. It's empowering, like you said earlier. It's like
yeah,
I don't know that people fully trust this and think, oh, yeah, woo woo. That breathing thing is so well researched
It's
that
science.
it is science. There's no disputing that.
Right,
So
exactly.
put that in your tool belt and know that that is your first line of defense against stress, anxiety, fear, is to calm your physiology.
Yeah.
That's a great
There's
tool.
another technique that I like to do with people too, is, emotional freedom technique. Are you
Okay, tell me
familiar
about
with
that. I
that?
haven't heard of it.
Okay. So it is tapping, and you tap along the meridians, the Chinese meridians. So these are, um, pathways in our body that have been studied in Chinese medicine for thousands of years. And, it's kind of hard to do over a podcast, but, I can certainly provide information, um, I can provide some resources for your listeners, if they want to download them later. But
Absolutely.
one thing the tapping does, you can simply do one thing and tap on just one side of your a collarbone, like one of your collarbones and tap, and that just gives you some grounding. It's on the meridian, and take some deep breaths, and you can say something simple like, "Wow, I really feel like I am feeling anxious right now, but I'm working on liking and loving myself."
I love that.
Or, "I know that I typically I would have, reach for that snack to soothe me, and I'm changing my patterns, and I'm working on building a new me," or whatever. So I have like a script and everything, and I can share that with you
That would be
but
wonderful.
yeah, but just kind of like positive affirmations to yourself while tapping, and
Yeah.
that helps to ground you and get you feeling a little bit more embodied and empowered again.
Absolutely. It's like there is something that I can do to help me in this moment. Not I'm
Right.
powerless over this anxiety or this stress or this whatever's got me all worked up. So the breathing, the tapping, and you know what else I liked about how you presented that is you're not acting like, oh, everything's fine and dandy. You're like, I'm upset about this right now, but I am taking steps to build new habits. So it's not like pretending all is well.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, this is upsetting to me, but I am taking steps to build new habits and make choices that suit me.
right.
Yeah.
And it's okay to feel that.
Yes, I think sometimes when people come to therapy or whatever, and I find myself wanting to explain that a lot. Don't expect these feelings to go away. You're because people think, "Oh, I'm not making progress. I still get upset or I still." That's gonna happen for the rest of your life, right? But you have
Right.
power to make changes. Feelings aren't gonna just disappear, but you can work to take take a little bit of control over them.
Yes, I love that. Exactly.
So, talk about Reiki a little bit.
Yeah, so Reiki is, I believe it's Japanese, and it's energy healing, and it started with hands-on healing. The person, and I don't remember the name, I apologize, but the person who discovered it, um, basically felt called that people have the capacity to heal themselves. So you can certainly go and look for a Reiki provider who will do amazing energy work on you, but you actually have the capacity in yourself to do it as well. And
Mm,
it's really just there's it's not as easy as I'm saying, but
right.
I will say the easy way is if you take your hands and you place them on your body. If you have an ailment, if you have belly pain or knee pain, if you bump your toe, your first instinct is to go down and grab it and hold on to it, right?
True.
That's Reiki. right? So you can do that with thoughts too. So you can take your hands and put them on top of your head if you're having racing thoughts. Um, and or if your heart is feeling like it's beating really fast, you can take
Mhm,
your hands and put it there.
mhm.
So initially was meant for people to heal themselves, and I would love to go back to that. So I would love to bring that back around. Like, let's start healing ourselves. We have
I
that
agree.
capacity.
I know, and I'm sure you've read so many amazing stories about people and self-healing. Oh my gosh, some of those
Yes.
stories are incredible, but there's a lot of ways to engage and do some self-healing
Yeah,
for sure,
and
and
there
rely
are so
on
many different types of learners. There's so many different I mean, so many different types of people, and everybody has a way to do this for themselves. Like, you can figure out a way the way for you, you know?
right,
And I'm
and
we're here to help.
I love that, and I love that you share different ways of sometimes getting to the same thing, right? There's many roads to Rome, but we gotta find out what works for you.
Yep, exactly.
So what kinda I'll tell you about this energy experience that I had with this
Yeah.
energy healer practitioner, and it was sort of a Reiki, not really a Reiki thing like you would normally think about it, but she was behind me, and I think some people are more skilled in this. I mean, it's an you can sense energy in your body or in somebody else's body that you can almost feel it, right? And then
Yeah. Have you
and yeah, it was and she was just there, and there was some talk. She was talking, I wasn't, but all of a sudden it was like, I am boohooing, and I don't cry. I hardly ever cry. And it was just like whatever was going on, and it was just like that, just a sense of safety with the healing hands.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It was really powerful. I took yoga
Yeah.
training, and part of that was, Reiki training too. So
Oh, great.
yeah, I've got a little bit of experience with it, um, but I think it's
Yeah.
fascinating. Yeah,
That's
so
wonderful. It's so great. And it's true what you say about, like, feeling people's energy. Like, if you have you ever h had somebody walk in the room and you're just like, "Whoa, I can feel that." I know we've
yeah,
all felt that. So that is a real feeling.
yeah, it is.
And we each have that, and sometimes our energy is very, fragile, you know? Like, there are people who have to, who give so much, and so their energy is never feels, like, restored or full, you know?
Mhm.
And then there are people who just have to, like, you see them, they're sitting and they're kinda curled up, their arms are folded and their legs are folded, and they're, like, protecting their energetic boundaries, you know?
Right, right.
And so, like, being able to recognize that your energy is impacted by people around you, whether it's your family dynamics, whether it's you're at work, whatever it may be, a stranger being yelling at you, being
Yes.
able to be aware of that and then kind of pull your energy in and, like, nurture it
Mhm.
and get it nice and healthy can help a lot too, and Reiki can do that as well.
Yeah. You've probably read a lot about this too. There's a lot of science now showing that growing up in traumatic and stressful environments, the adverse childhood events kinds of things,
Yes.
and a lot of inflammatory illnesses can be traced back to,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
growing up with a lot of stress or trauma. So when you do the functional health and you say like you're looking upstream, like what led to this, do you delve into that kind of stuff too?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Um, Definitely. So, we always look I I always look into what their family dynamics were, what kind of food did they have when they were growing up? Were there stressors? Was there cigarette smoking in the house? Were the
Ah,
parents divorced? Was it a happy home?
that
Um, yeah, all of those things can definitely impact your health. And you're right about the ACEs, being an indicator for chronic illnesses, and inflammation.
do you ever have patients say to you, "Well, what's that got to do with my diagnosis of whatever?"
I I do, um, but most of the time when people come to see me, they're looking for someone
Yeah,
who's, yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, definitely I have people who, I can feel their energy.
Yeah,
They completely shut down
absolutely.
and it's like, okay, they're that's completely fine too. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, everybody
Great.
has their what they're comfortable with, and we have to honor that.
Yeah. So your weight loss program, it's resetting the metabolism, doing
Yep.
the GLP therapy, the nutrition, and the mindfulness. What's the mindfulness component of that?
So, do you know about it's the 7-38-55 rule?
I do not. Do explain.
Okay, so the idea is that 7% of what we say is through our words.
Ah,
38% is our tone,
ah,
right? And
yep.
55% is our body language.
Okay. I love that.
So it's estimated that 5 to 7% um, of what we do is in our consciousness, and the rest is in our subconscious.
Oh,
So it is like, and we yeah, and
firm
we're
believer.
constant we are in and out of hypnotic trances all day long. Have you ever like driven somewhere where you're like, um how did I get here?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
remember getting in the car, but I can't
Yeah,
remember how I actually got here because you're in that trance. It's your rote memory, it's
right.
in your subconscious. And so we do that so much during the day, and a lot of it is these habits too, or these like coping mechanisms. So
Mhm.
with the mindfulness, it actually is mind control. People There's like hypnosis has gotten a bad rap for that,
Right,
but it's you
right.
getting control over your mind.
I love that.
It's you bridging that like subconscious and your consciousness together so you can be aware of that. Yeah, so it's all about empowering people to to heal themselves, to get to understand themselves,
Mhm.
lift themselves up, and have all of the tools to succeed.
So those are your like first 4 weeks. I'm just reading, from
Yep.
your website. And
Oh,
then weeks 5 through 8 are like rebalancing energy and building strength through movement and mindset work. So the rebalancing the energy, would that be like the learning of the tapping and
yeah.
the
Oh, yep.
breathing?
Yep. We do tapping, we do breathing, we do hypno meditation, we do positive affirmations, visualizations, and strength training.
Absolutely.
And the diet, our I don't like to use the word diet because it has "die" in it, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
nutrition and, so, yeah, it's very comprehensive, and, I think partnering that with CBT is really helpful too. Do you do CBT?
CBT,
Yeah.
meaning cognitive behavior therapy.
Cognitive behavioral
Mhm.
therapy is so important as well, so
Right. Which is basically, teaching people to be mindful of their thoughts and work on being more positive with their thoughts, not beating themselves up,
yep,
changing thinking patterns because our thoughts affect our feelings, affect our behavior, all of that stuff. Do you work
yep.
with therapists for that or?
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. Wow, you've got a really
Yes.
comprehensive program.
Yeah.
So in this weight loss
It's amazing.
program, weeks 9 through 12, do you transition everybody off the medications at
No.
that point?
No. Everybody's different. Some people have more weight to lose, than others,
Mhm.
and, so no, definitely not. But there is, they have access to the program and everything. So a lot of it is asynchronous, so people can learn at their own pace,
That's
um,
great.
and then go back, because having that scaffolding for learning, meaning
Right.
like being able to build a really solid foundation to set people
Mhm.
up for success
Right.
is really important. So
And it sounds like what you're doing is, and this is written in your on your website. It's like reinforce lasting self trust. Oh my gosh. I love that because I think one of the things that I see with the patients I work with is they don't trust themselves to be able to maintain this weight loss because it's been such a struggle in the past. It's like, why would I trust it this time? It's not happened
yeah,
before.
yeah. It's hard. I was, really overweight in high school and in college, and, you were talking about people just not having when I was we were at the conference, and I heard so many people talking about how they're feel like they're not seen or they're not heard when they go to their provider.
Right.
I remember that, and I remember, like, the self-loathing that I had and the judgment that I had from family members,
Oh,
and also wanting to protect myself, like, "I don't wanna be seen by you, I'm going to
right.
overeat because I don't
I
want
want to
people
hide.
to look at me," it's scary out there, and so I completely understand the struggle and I know how hard it is, but I also know how empowering and freeing it is when you're able to see the bigger picture and like realize, no, I'm not being chased by a lion. I am
Mm.
actually safe now. I'm a grown up and I'm safe
Right.
and I can make these choices and all of these noises, the gremlins, the ghrelin or the hormones that are
Mhm.
in my head are just in my head. You know,
Exactly. I think that's a huge thing to remember because a lot of us are afraid, go especially if you've gone through childhood kinds of trauma. You have a lot of fear and you bring those thoughts with you into your adult life, but as you just said, it's like I'm safe. I'm an adult. I'm safe
yeah,
today. And by you
right.
guys teaching all of these tools throughout the program and different ways of self healing, that's how people develop trust in themselves. It's like, wait a minute, I can trust myself to use this breathing technique in this situation rather than turning to that. I can trust myself to use this tapping. I can trust myself to use this self Reiki process. But it's just learning those kinds of things. And very few programs teach it. So I
Yeah.
love that you guys are using
Thank you.
some non traditional kinds of things. Do you get people?
Thank you.
Do you work with people all over? Do they have to be in Boston?
No, I'm in I'm registered in Massachusetts and in California.
Mm,
But I can see people who are on GLP-1 or even not. They don't have to
right.
be any all over the country or the
That is
world.
so cool.
So
So
that's
you do a lot of work online?
yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
telehealth.
fantastic.
I know.
Oh,
It's
wow.
so nice. Yeah, it's so nice and flexible for people. So, like I
Mhm.
said, we have the asynchronous part of it where people can learn at their own pace. And then there's also live videos and
I was
like,
gonna say, do you use
one to
videos
one.
and stuff to educate
Yeah.
people? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That is great. So,
Yeah.
how did you figure out what your Guillain-Barré was? How was that ever discovered?
I went to the hospital and I couldn't walk. And then they finally diagnosed me.
Mm, wow, that's
I know.
amazing. So it took
You
all
know,
of that, and you were trying
it
to get
took all of
through it.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm
It
imagining you use a lot of listening with your patients, like you get good history because you want to hear them and you want them to feel heard.
I believe them.
Yes.
I believe them. I think that's if they're saying there's something wrong, there's something wrong. And
Yeah, what a
that's one
gift.
thing that I would love to um, emphasize with the listeners
Yeah.
is trust yourself.
Oh,
You don't have to outsource all of this stuff. We're so trained to outsource and like or monetize all of this thing. If you believe that there's something wrong, trust yourself, turn inward, pay attention, listen to your subconscious and and see what, explore that, figure that out and obviously try to get help as well for people who will listen.
yeah. How do you do that? Because a lot of
I
our patients
think
are
I
beaten
know.
down by not
I,
having been.
it's really hard right now. It's really hard, but I think having a good therapist like you is
Mhm.
helpful. Finding the right provider. I mean, I think finding the right provider. Functional medicine can be really helpful. I
Yes.
think also listening to somebody who does do that mind, body, spirit and looking at the whole
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
is helpful as well.
I think that's important for our listeners too, because you are in the medical field, I'm in the psychology field, and most things are go hand in hand. But I think it's
Yeah.
important for listeners to understand that the diseases, whatever the disease is, obesity or what high blood pressure, whatever, it's not just a mind thing or a body thing or an energy thing. It is a sum total. It affects every part of who we are. And we are
Mhm.
whole people. We can't just look at, you know, let's look at your blood work and that's all we're going to look at. But like you said, when you were working in that cancer treatment place and people are allergic to the medicine that's going to help them, they have to learn some self healing tools.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And I do
Yeah,
think
I
that,
mean, if
go
you
ahead.
think about something that is stressful in your life, where do you feel it?
Okay, we're talking stress. I get headaches. I'm a headache person,
There you go. There's that mind body.
right? And it's interesting. First of all, people oftentimes don't know, they can't define their emotions, right? They don't know if you're
Yeah.
to say, how do you feel? I don't know. So some people were shut off from emotion a long time ago. So when I work with people to understand their emotions, it's like, yes, there's a word that describes what's going on with you, but it's in your body. The sensations are in your body. You're telling me you're anxious. How do you know? Well, because I'm feeling,
Exactly.
yeah. How do you know that's anxiety? Because you're feeling it somewhere in your body. So share that with me.
Exactly. Exactly. That's right.
And once you get good at it, if I start to tingle on this part of both of my arms, to me that is extreme anxiety. That's what happens to my body when I feel anxiety. Another
Yeah,
person will feel lightheaded, but you've got to get to know your body and you've got to listen to it in order to do that.
exactly. And all you have to, well, not all you have to do, but one thing you can do is just stop, recognize, like, oh, I'm feeling this state. Maybe take a deep breath and pay attention with your exhale longer than your inhale
Yep.
and pay attention to where in your body you're feeling that.
Right.
Or if you're feeling something in your body, it can go the other way, vice versa, right? So if you're feeling
Mhm.
something in your body, you can stop and say, wow, is there something that's going on in my life right now? Is there an emotional component to this as well?
Yeah.
And it's not saying that it's all in your head because it's not, or it's all in your body
Clearly
because it's
not.
not.
And
So
sometimes we'll just have a sensation or a feeling or something that we can't really pinpoint. But I love the phrase, pay attention to the tension. When you have that gut
Love
feeling or
that.
something is nagging at you and you can't pinpoint it, I love that. Do the breathing thing to slow yourself down and just pay attention to the tension. What is this trying to tell me? Where am I experiencing in my body? What would, like, I will say to people when they're bouncing their knee up and down really fast, like in therapy, I'm like, if your knee could talk right now, what would it say? Because there's so much energy
Yeah,
going on right there, right? What is
yeah,
that indicating? So we can learn
right.
so much by being in touch with our bodies. Do you do body scan? Teach people how to do a body scan?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Talk about that
absolutely.
a little bit. Teach people to do a
Sure,
body
yeah.
scan.
So, body scanning, is feeling your body. You lay down, you do deep breathing, and you can focus on different parts of your body, see how it feels, and then relax, move to the next one. It's really great for what's called embodiment.
Ah,
And I like what you were saying about the emotions and how like they can get stuck. People are told like, don't cry, especially like boys, don't
yeah.
cry, or that didn't hurt, or you don't, that wasn't a big deal, and it's like very dismissive to these emotions
Yes.
that are very, very real. So yeah, I love doing a body scan.
Mhm.
And you can start at the top of the head or at the bottom of the feet and just kind of work your way up or down, and pay attention to what's going on with your body. And then realize like for people who are in pain, I love doing this
Oh,
exercise where you focus on the part of the body that does hurt, and then you focus on the part that doesn't,
wow.
and then you are yeah, and then you're able to the part that um, does bother you maybe can even melt into the rest, and, um, yeah, because it's not so siloed, right? So,
Yeah.
we're
So
all connected.
that's interesting. So it kind of
Mhm.
melts it away from that one spot and isn't as
Yeah, or
intense?
you
Is that
kinda see a bigger picture, like, I don't have to focus all of my attention on the part of my body that hurts all the time.
interesting? I like that.
Yeah.
Have you heard of a technique called remembered wellness?
No.
Well, I don't know how this would work physiologically, but I'll bet it would because it's a I went through a probably the most dark part of my life. There was a lot going on, but basically I felt so numb and frozen and emotionally frozen and just like anxious, like totally crazy anxious. So I had just started my PhD program and I was working so hard not to let anybody know how horribly I should not have I should probably been hospitalized. I don't know. But it was bad. So I would sit in my class and I would do this exercise called remembered wellness. And I would remember a time in my life when I felt so happy and calm and peaceful. And one of the things that was one of the best memories to me was when my kids were little and I would just be rocking them, right? And
Hmm.
I would remember that while I was sitting there frozen, like just so frozen with fear and anxiety. And I would remember that. And honest to God, it would feel like like the ice was melting. So it's remembering a time when you did feel
Mhm.
better, when you did feel less anxious, when you did feel in less pain, when you did feel happier, and just putting yourself in that spot, and it can help in that way too. That's a great
Eh,
technique too.
that's that's hypnotherapy.
Ah, okay, let's move to
So
that then.
you were doing that on yourself.
Okay, who knew? So talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about self-hypnosis and practice a little of that.
Yeah. So, like, there's no right or wrong way to do it.
Okay.
There's no one way to do it also. And so it's really doing the body scan is one form of it as well. A lot of times when people do meditation, that's self hypnosis.
Okay.
Um, doing the deep breathing and like kind of getting into the trance and paying attention to your breathing, that can also be it. So there are like many ways to do it. I would love to walk you through one,
Okay,
an exercise that you can do on your own. I know. Um, yeah, do you want to just do
I
it,
do.
hypnosis? And then
Let's do it.
I'll do one, and then people, can listen to it over, repeat it. And
Right.
then once it starts to become part of their like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I did this before. Okay, now I can do it again, and now I can do it on my own." And there you go. You have some self-hypnosis.
I love it. And all these tools, you don't have to go sit and pay $200 an hour for a therapist. You can learn
Yeah,
these things on your own.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Yes.
Let's do
Yeah, you
this.
have all the tools.
Yep.
Okay. So, and for the listeners, please don't drive while doing this. So,
Please. Yeah.
okay, take a nice deep breath in and exhale. Again, nice deep breath in, exhale. That's right. As you're focusing on your breathing, pay attention to a point in your body, a cell or spark. I like to call it the divine spark. We each have, every single one of us, that connects you to me, you to the listeners to each other, to the world, to the stars, to the universe, to the divine. Once you get there, you can just nod your head to let me know. Some people feel it in their head, some people feel it in their chest, some people feel it in their abdomen, and other people don't feel it, and that is okay. You still have it. Okay. In your mind's eye, go to a safe place, a sanctuary. It can be real, a real place that you've been or imagined. Now imagine yourself walking along a quiet path at a steady, comfortable pace. And as you walk, you notice the ground beneath you supporting each step. Notice the ease of moving forward. Along the path, you begin to notice something ahead. It's a mirror. And it's gently in your view. You walk up to it, and when you arrive, you see yourself reflected there. Not as you've been managing or pushing or stressing, but as your ideal self. This version of you looks energized, confident, healthy, and strong in a way that feels natural and embodied. Take a moment to notice how this version of you stands, how they hold themselves, how they breathe, the quiet assurance that they carry. And if it feels right, imagine stepping towards the mirror and moving through it into that body. That's right. And as you do, notice what it feels like to be in that body. The posture, the ease, the sense of freedom and strength and trust within yourself. And let your nervous system register this feeling. As a familiar state that your body recognizes. Take a gentle breath in and out. When you feel ready, you exit the mirror. Thank your ideal self. And walk back down the path. And know that this place is always available to you. And you can return here anytime. Maybe you remember with a magical word, a mantra, or maybe a gesture such as touching your finger to your thumb or your hand to your chest. There is no right or wrong, whatever works for you. And as you continue your day, allow this feeling to walk with you. It's quiet and in your own time. I'm going to count to 3, and you can come back. 1, start to wiggle your hands and your feet. 2, open your eyes. 3, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. How did that feel?
That was actually fun. I mean, walking back from the mirror, it was a
Yeah,
completely different feeling. I felt like I was bouncing along.
great. That's wonderful. Yeah, for some people, it might take a few times, just to keep
Mhm,
practicing.
mhm.
And like I said, there's no right or wrong way to do it. So, and there's no bad side effects.
Exactly, exactly, and you're not under
So,
anybody's, woo woo. But I also like that, you know, if you're like touch a finger like that or tap your knee or put your finger to your chest,
yeah,
you can do that and kinda conjure up
that
that
memory, that
yeah,
feeling.
yeah,
Exactly.
make a connection there. That is really powerful, and, you're right, I don't think people think of that as, hypnosis, but it absolutely is. It's just not paying attention to what's right here around you, but to your inner being,
Yeah, exactly.
slowing it down and focusing inwardly. So, do
Exactly.
you have people record themselves or do you have them listen to like that's like a guided meditation, right?
Yep.
I'm a
Yes.
okay.
So I often record
Yeah,
myself,
cool.
when I do a session with somebody, and then I will send it to them later so that they can
I
listen on
love
their
that.
own.
I
Yeah,
love that. That is great. Okay.
yeah.
So, I was just thinking if somebody had a person that they really trusted or was a great mentor or a person that they admired, maybe they could have them make a tape like that for them.
Sure, yeah, I
Or
mean, I think there are scripts that they can probably find,
sure.
if they didn't want to or they can make up their own. I mean,
Right.
that's so fun. I actually had a client, yesterday, I did a group hypnosis, and, she and her husband were there, and they, decided to, we did this practice where, they went to, like, a safe space, and they decided that they were gonna craft their own safe space together.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I know, so it's just so powerful and so lovely and
It is.
has so much creative, freedom for
I
it as
know.
well.
I love that when you work with people and they come up with these amazing ideas and you're
I
like,
know.
"Wow, that's so powerful." It really
Yeah,
is.
it's
So
very
fun.
cool.
So you do all kinds of things. So where can people find you and participate in the work that you do?
Yeah. So online, empowerhealthandwellness.org, not
Mhm.
.com, but it's
Right.
.org. And yeah, just reach out. You can schedule a call with me. I'm happy to talk with anyone. I love it.
Yes.
So I
And
love meeting new people
and they will
and
be
helping
heard.
people.
Yes, they will
Yes.
be
And
heard.
you will be heard. That's right.
That is so critical. That's healing in and of
Mhm.
itself. Well,
Yeah.
you are a gem. Oh my gosh, you are just such a gem. We need to do a workshop or something together. Oh my gosh.
Yes, let's do that. That would be
Yeah.
so fun,
Oh my gosh.
Connie.
So I will put your, website on the show notes so people can contact you, and I can't thank you enough for sharing so much expertise and going outside of the box with healing. I know what I was gonna ask you.
Yeah.
This was forever ago. I'm talking 40 years. I was young and I was in sales, and I heard a sales training tape, and the guy was talking about psychoneuroimmunology, which is
Oh,
a
wow.
huge, big word, right?
Yeah.
Psychoneuroimmunology, and I was hooked. But all it means is mind, body, spirit
Yeah.
connection, and that's what you
Yes.
do.
I
Yeah.
love that so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Biopsychosocial is another one.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, so,
I love it.
thank you. Show
Thank
notes.
you.
Um, I'd love to have you on again, and we can do some more of this.
Let's do it. I love it. And, yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to talk with you and your listeners, and, I have such a heart for, the work that you do, and,
Yeah.
I'm such a fan of you, so
So glad you were at the
thank you.
conference and we crossed paths.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely. All right,
Okay.
have a
Look
great
forward to
evening.
next time. Good night.
Okay, bye.
Bye.